So we wanted to run through how we will run a online session. So I know that this can be really challenging, and there are some great tools available to help make this just even easier, which is awesome. So one of the tools that we like to use as part of our online instruction is called Whizzimo. So Whizzimo is great because it will allow you to still have some of that multisensory feeling or that engagement piece that can often be lacking when you're doing an online session. So Whizzimo, it's just really designed for exactly this. And so I'm just going to walk you through some of the different things that are available as part of this. You can absolutely get a free account. They do have a paid account. They have a couple of different paid accounts. We just use the basic paid account. I think it's about $40 a year, so it's not super expensive. And it's just really great because it just allows us one extra tool that we can be using. So what we do is typically you're going to create a workbook. And so when you create a workbook, you can just say, I know the words that I want to use. And the great thing about this is you can literally just type in the words that you want. So for example, if we were going to be doing the floss lesson, what we would do is we would put in our review words. So these are all of the CK review words. And we just type them in. And the great thing is once you do this once, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. We don't always use the words in this way, which is why we don't have them all built out. But you definitely could just do this once and they would all be available for you. And so then we just say search words. Yep, great. We're going to start saying, go ahead and, oops, that wasn't good. That's not what I wanted to do. But what you'll do is you'll just go ahead and say select all. This is like such as life, right? You like do something and then have to do it all over again, which is super annoying. It just feels like my life anymore. I'm sure all of you can relate to that to some extent. Although what I am realizing is that we actually want to get our floss words in there too. So what we do is we always just pull the words that we would have for the lesson as well. So not only do you want the review words, but you would also want your words that you're going to be targeting within your session. And the thing is that you can do this in multiple different ways. So you don't have to do this at all. And in fact, like I said earlier, we don't always do it this way. So you don't have to do this. However, this is just a really great way to give yourself a few extra activities if you feel like, just going through the workbook pages alone is not going to be enough. So we're going to go ahead and search all of those words. I'm going to make sure that I go ahead and say select all and then keep selected. And then once you've done that, you can save and exit. And then, oops, I forgot to title it. So we'll want to title that. So we'll want to edit. We just want to give it a name. So it will be our floss lesson 2. And then we can go ahead and save and exit. Once we've done that, you can go ahead and click on this, and then you can say that you want to, oops, just kidding. We want to add the workbook. So this is your workbook library, and essentially what we want to do is we want to go ahead and move that into the course workbook. So tap a workbook below to add it to your course or to edit it. Add to course. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. So then what you can do is you can go ahead and click on that. When you've got a student, you can go ahead and select a number of different activities. And so one of the activities that we will sometimes do, you can either use your sound deck, or you can also use this Blackboard, which is pretty cool. And you can just go ahead and pull down the ones that you want your students to use, which is pretty fun for them. The other cool thing about this is that you can actually load new tiles in. So once you start getting into Val Teams and things like that, you can add onto your Blackboard or onto this tile board as many tiles as you need. So it's really awesome because you're not getting lost and getting flown all over the place. Which is cool. So you can even do this with your in-person students. It doesn't just have to be online. You can use this on a tablet or something as well. And essentially you can move your tiles down and start kind of working through those. So that's Awesome. So you can use that in a couple of different ways. But then the next thing you can do is you can go into word cards. And so sometimes what we would do is we would say, okay, we have some words that we talked about last week that follow our CK spelling rule. What would those words be? And you can actually just have them sort the words like so. And so that's really great. And then they can say, these ones don't follow our pattern. So let's go ahead and put those in. These are not CK words. Okay, well, why not? Why are these not CK words? They may not be able to decode all of these because you haven't taught some of these patterns, but really what you're looking for is, can they tell you that they don't use CK because it's not touching a short vowel? And then you can even move on to, okay, so here's some of our new words, here's some of our floss words that we have. And you can decide whether you want to show, how many words you want to show, so you can make sure that you're getting enough in there. So we just have it set to only have 15 words, but you can definitely have more words than that. You can also use flashcards, which is really great because you can go ahead and break that down. And it will break it all the way down this way for you. And so that's really, really cool for your students who may be struggling with some of that. So same thing, you can kind of show them, yep, this doesn't follow a CK because look we've got 2 vowels hanging out in there. And so it's just a really great way to really help them out. Again, you could definitely put 30 words, so we would have gotten all of our floss words in there. But again, that's just one way of doing this. You can also do a timed read, which is great. You can just begin the assessment. They're going to read it. Struck, pluck, sock. Clearly, in this case, you wouldn't want to be having words that they don't know. But essentially, once they've finished reading all of those, you're going to go ahead and finish. You can then score the student. So if they missed words, of course, these ones you wouldn't have expected them to know, but if they missed those words, you could mark them. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give you an accuracy and a correct words per minute. So that's pretty awesome. There's a lot of different things that you can do. So you can also, no, we don't want to start over. You can do spelling. And so spelling for real words, it will tell you struck, and they want you to build struck. And so the great thing is they just told you the word. They can replay it as many times as they need. And then they're building it with letter tiles. So that's pretty awesome. You can do it that way, or you can also use your, it doesn't matter. Fortunately, it will be correct either way. This will also score for you, so that's great. It does say that they only do this for real words. So if you have any nonsense words, it's not going to do nonsense word spelling, which is fine. We don't necessarily need it to do that. Then what we do is for the phonemic awareness activities, if you want to have blocks or want to have manipulatives for your phonological awareness activities, we just use these. So if we wanted to say something like build me luck, you would have luck. Okay, change the in luck to it. And they might do something like this. Oop, just kidding. Ick, lick. And so you can just do that. So there's just a lot of different opportunities here. And then we use Zoom, and so we can also just screen share. And so a lot of times, what we're doing is we're just quite honestly sharing our curriculum resources. And so, if we were on decoding lesson 1 or 2, if we were working on that floss rule, we would just quite honestly have these workbooks pulled up so that they are working on that. And so, I'm trying to share this with you. Essentially, once you have that pulled up, we would have them mark this. So we would have them go ahead and annotate with Zoom, and they would just be marking and writing right on here. So they can actually be sharing with you. Let's finally pull that up. There we go. So they can just be marking on this page. And so, for example, if we were going to be annotating or something like that, we might say, okay, go ahead and mark your vowels. So they're marking their vowels just like so. And so they're actually marking on the screen. And so that works really well for us. And then if they're trying to find words that are nonsense words and circling and things like that, they can just be marking on the screen. And then of course, we have to clear it off and everything before we move on. So sometimes we'll take screenshots and things if they have something that they're really proud of. But that's a way that we can make sure that we're still getting that piece. The hard thing is that they have to be using their mouse. So there might be times where you actually want to have a tablet or something, or having sent them the workbook ahead of time so that they can be writing in their actual book so that they can keep it. But this is just one other way that you can do that. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. That's how we do our online sessions. And we've had a lot of success with it. A lot of our students that we've run through online have done equally well to students that we've had in person. So the great thing is knowing that there may be some opportunities to get some games in there. So thank you so much, Christy, for pulling that together. That's clearly a really great way to get engagement as well for those online sessions. So again, hopefully that helps. Let us know if you have questions.